Welcome to Skin Earth Vitality, where ancient wisdom meets modern vitality. I'm Emily Davis, a holistic esthetician and herbalist. Join me as we unlock the secrets of ancient skincare practices, explore the beauty of seasonal living, herbalism, and true holistic well-being for you and the broader ecosystem. I'm so grateful that you are choosing to spend your time with me today, so thank you. I'll invite you to exhale and then take a deep inhale and breathe it all out. Unclench your jaw and anchor into this container. Today is the third installment of a series I'm doing about demystifying skincare ingredients. This series is for you if you ever feel like you're looking outside of your own wisdom to figure out what you should use on your skin. I'm here to offer some of my insights through a holistic lens on products so you can feel better equipped. We have learned so much about food in the last decade, and most people know what to look for when it comes to food. They know what they're looking for on an ingredient deck. I feel like that's been talked about so much, and this is amazing, and I'm grateful for that. But I don't feel like there's been that same focus on skin and what we're putting on our bodies. And I do think that that deserves the same type of scrutiny. So today I'm talking about tonics / toners or mists and serums. And I put these into one episode because I think they're so closely tied that the right tonic could take the place of a serum in a skincare routine, and often does in my own personal minimalist skincare regimen. This episode has actually felt kind of confronting for me and kind of hard as I've been putting it together. I've been an esthetician for 17 years this year, so I've spent a lot of time thinking about what it is that I'm saying to people with the products that I'm using on them or recommending to them. Targeted treatments like toners and serums can feel really frustrating to me because these are the places where I feel like conventional beauty really gets going with the rhetoric of looking for something outside of yourself for wholeness, or this messaging that you're not enough on your own. I really want to encourage enhanced mindfulness with product usage. That's to say, examining your intentions behind what you do. I see serums kind of like the supplements of the skincare world. There's a supplement for everything out there, just like there's a serum for everything. And some can be helpful. Some can be just fluff and a waste of money, and some can actually be problematic. And similarly, many of them promise to find your wellness outside of yourself. It's like this promise with a serum of skin health outside of yourself. And I used to be a huge supplement junkie, and I do still incorporate supplements into my lifestyle, but I'm a lot more intentional about it than I used to be. And that's my invitation to you with serums. Don't just use a serum because you think you should be using a serum and that that's the key to beauty. I think having a specific intention behind it and understanding why you're using it and what it's doing is going to be really essential. I love skincare. I've fallen even more deeply in love with it as I became an herbalist. And I learned about this beautiful and ancient way that we can interact with plants and their energy and their spirit on a daily basis. and I've fallen in love with all of the herbalist formulated skincare lines that are out there now. And also, I created my online community-based membership called Rooted Well because I wanted to have a space where we focused primarily on lifestyle as a way to connect with our beauty and connect with our vitality. Because skincare is the frosting and lifestyle is the cake. And I wanted to make sure that I especially point this out on this episode where we're talking about targeted treatments like serums. Taking a look at your lifestyle habits is absolutely crucial to address the root cause of any skin imbalance. And I have to point that out when we're talking about this. So if you are interested in joining Rooted Well, you can find out more about this community in the show notes. I created it for myself because I was unable to find anything else out there that was filling this need that I personally had. So that's my existential crisis moment with topicals. So let's get into talking about them. In this episode, I'll break down what a tonic / toner / mist is. I will talk about hydrosols and how you can even make your own very easily at home without fancy equipment. I will talk about serums and some of the most popular serum ingredients and what I think about them and how to use these in your regimen at home. What is a tonic / toner / mist, and why am I having all of the slashes in there? So they're really all basically the same thing. And for the sake of simplicity in this episode, I'm going to call them a tonic. It's a basically like an aqueous solution that is made from different ingredients. A toner was traditionally used to restore the skin's pH after cleansing, as some cleansers in the past would disrupt the skin's natural acidity. But today, most cleansers are formulated to be pH balanced. So there's not this huge draw toward that antiquated type of toner anymore. Tonics are applied to the skin after cleansing and before applying serums or moisturizers, and they can better prepare the skin for absorption of skincare products afterwards. But they also are very targeted. You can have tonics that have clarifying ingredients like thyme, or I carry one in my shop that has spearmint and ginger, which is the ginger is amazing because it increases circulation in the skin and it can bring blood to the surface, but it can also just support that movement in the stagnancy that we see with congested skin that has a higher occurrence of blackheads, and we're just not seeing like a lot of movement happening. There's a lot of stagnation there. Ginger can help to bring some life back. There are exfoliating toners with alpha hydroxy acids or beta hydroxy acids. You can listen to my episode on exfoliation that came out last week for more info on that. And then we have hydrating or soothing toners with ingredients like rose and chamomile and aloe vera. And when I use a tonic, it's pretty much always to hydrate and receive the benefits from the plant. I think of it more as like a spray on serum. And holistic skincare lines generally will have a tonic that's either a single hydrosol, a blend of hydrosols, or a hydrosol and other targeted ingredients. Hydrosols are known as flower waters or plant waters, and they're natural aromatic waters produced through steam distillation of plant materials. And during this steam distillation process, it's really cool to watch because steam passes through the plant material and it extracts essential oils and then also water soluble compounds. And then the steam is condensed back into liquid form. And you've got both the essential oil and the hydrosol produced from that. And hydrosols used to be thought of as like a byproduct of essential oils. But now there's all of these really cool, like artisan hydrosol creators that are doing it just for the hydrosol. And the essential oil is almost like the byproduct of the hydrosol. Hydrosols are the diluted concentration of the water soluble compounds found in plant material. And they are often similar in fragrance to the essential oil. Sometimes they're different, like with lavender, the hydrosol is much more grassy. But they also have similar benefits to the essential oil, but are much more sustainable. You get a very large amount of hydrosol compared to the few drops of essential oil that is produced during this process. And hydrosols are a great way to work with these plants and have a little bit more mindfulness because they are much more sustainable. And then also, they're much more gentle on the skin. I do not recommend dropping essential oils into your skincare. I think that they should be microdosed in skincare by the formulator. Even if you're the formulator, a little bit goes into a larger batch rather than just dropping essential oils into your moisturizer or into your face oil. Um, and for these reasons, hydrosols are a great alternative to utilize in your skincare at home, for estheticians to utilize in facials as well. And to make a hydrosol at home, you will need fresh or dried plant, but fresh is best so that those volatile oils are still intact. And ideas for this include cucumbers, lavender, rosemary, sage, lemon verbena is a favorite of mine. You'll need a pot with a lid, a heat resistant bowl, like a glass bowl, a heat source, like a stove, and then ice. That's all you need to make a hydrosol. So you'll start by placing the plant material in the pot and covering it with water. Get some like spring water. Next, place the heat resistant glass bowl in the center of the pot, ensuring that it floats in the water without touching the bottom. And then bring the water to a simmer and place the lid upside down on the pot with the ice cubes on top of this upside down lid. And then as the steam rises and condenses on the lid, the hydrosol will collect and drip into the bowl. So after 20 or 30 minutes, you'll carefully remove the lid, collect the hydrosol from the bowl, and store it in a clean, sterilized container in the refrigerator to keep it fresh. This will last for a couple of weeks, and adjust your quantities and process based on the specific plant material used. So, like lemon verbena, I use quite a bit. And so I will harvest this usually like at the end of the summer and do it once. And it's just like a really lovely little treat that I get once a year when my harvest is ready. If you want to purchase them, I personally love a company called Aromatics International. This is not sponsored. I really just love them. They have a wide variety of hydrosols for purchase and so many cool, different, unique hydrosols. So check them out. Professionally, they are made with some type of a steam distillation apparatus, perhaps a copper alembic steel, which you should Google because they're gorgeous and on my wish list. They're so cool looking. And the use of copper in this distillation process is the traditional practice, but they also have them made from glass and other materials now as well. So, do you even need a tonic? Is it necessary? I actually do think that this is an important step in your regimen, both physically and psychologically. Physically speaking, if you're using a face oil, you should be using a tonic mist with it as well. Oil alone is not enough because the skin needs water hydration and oil nutrition. Tonics help the absorption of other products. You can replace your face moisturizer with a tonic and an oil because a cream is just water and oil bound together with an emulsifier, which is an ingredient that pulls oil and water together so that they don't separate in the bottle. And emulsifiers can be problematic in the skin if there's a large amount of emulsifiers in the product, or if there's really harsh emulsifiers in the product, because the emulsifier can't always tell the difference between if it's binding the water to an oil in the product or if it's binding the water to the natural supportive oils of your skin. And if you have an emulsifier rich product, as you wash your face after you've been wearing this cream all day, you can have what's called a washout effect, and you're washing away the natural supportive oils of your skin, disrupting your barrier. And so, to avoid this, if you have a disrupted barrier, or if your skin is really dry, or if it's red, or if you're prone to dermatitis, a wonderful alternative to this is to put a tonic in your hand and put the oil in your hand, rub them together, emulsifying them, and then put them on your face. So this is one reason that I really love tonics. And then psychologically speaking, it's just such a delightful experience. It feels so refreshing. I really enjoy it. The scent profiles of different hydrosols can be really lovely as well. So we'll talk more about emulsifiers and creams in the moisturizer episode, which will be in 2 weeks from now. But I do think even in a minimalistic regimen like mine, having a toner there can be a really lovely option, and it can replace your serum as long as you're not looking for a specific targeted ingredient that's in a serum. Serums differ from other skincare products like a moisturizer primarily in their formulation, in that they will have a higher concentration of active or targeted ingredients. And they're often lighter weight in their texture, which allows them to absorb more effectively, potentially penetrate more effectively. And they can come as a gel, an oil consistency, or like a lighter weight cream consistency. And I'm going to get into a list of popular ingredients that are found in serums. And remember, I'm looking at this through my holistic lens here. But we'll start with retinoids. Retinoids include both natural and synthetic derivatives of vitamin A, but they are primarily going to be synthetic derivatives when utilized in skincare. Retinoids work in the skin by promoting cell turnover, which I talked about last week in my exfoliation episode, but that's basically just a term for the cells at the very bottom of our epidermis, which is our top layer of skin. within our epidermis, we have different layers or stratum. And at the very bottom, we have our baby cells. And then over around a month in healthy skin, that baby cell will migrate up to the top and push the old cells off. And that process is called skin cell turnover. And as we age, this slows down. And retinoids also help by promoting the stimulation of cells called fibroblasts, which are responsible for collagen production. They function by binding to specific receptors in the skin, which regulate gene expression and promote the production of new skin cells. Additionally, they can help to regulate oil production, which makes them effective when working with acne. And retinoids also act as antioxidants in the skin, helping to neutralize free radicals, which can damage skin cells. So we have beta carotene, which is technically not a retinoid. It's a carotenoid. It's a precursor to vitamin A, meaning that it can be converted into active vitamin A or retinol in the body through a series of enzymatic reactions. Examples of this are carrots, rosehip. These can also be converted by enzymes in our epidermis. But this is more limited in the epidermis, and it may not provide the same level of efficacy as direct application of retinol or its derivatives in skincare. But it is actually my preferred vitamin A in skincare. The products that I carry that are vitamin A serums are beta carotene based serums. And true retinoids, as I said, most often come from synthetic sources, and they include retinol esters, which is the most mild type of retinoid and least likely to cause irritation. We have retinol, which is less potent than prescription forms, and it's widely used in the beauty industry. We have retinaldehyde, which is a stronger form of retinol. And then we have retinoic acid, which is the strongest form, also known as isotretinoin or retin-A. Accutane is also this, and this will always need a prescription. It can be a oral medication. It can also be topical as well. Synthetic retinoids are most likely derived from petrochemicals, which is a byproduct of crude oil. And many synthetic retinoids can be problematic for the microbiome and also make our skin more sensitive to the sun. So they're not my favorite. And my concern, maybe it's more philosophical, but it's all connected. And honestly, the more I learn and the longer I'm in this field, the more I feel that health and wellness come down to both philosophical and emotional foundations. But the use of these synthetic vitamin A's is to stimulate skin cell turnover and to stimulate fibroblasts to then stimulate collagen production. And to me, it's like this attitude of more, produce, more demands on our skin to act right. Our ability to make more cells and more collagen is not endless. And so this should be taken into consideration. And while vitamin A can be good for our skin in moderation, overdoing it can really mess with our skin's natural balance. Intuitively, synthetic vitamin A doesn't feel great for me, and thus I don't personally put it on my skin. And also, I've seen it be helpful for people using it short term for acne and if they're also addressing the root cause at the same time. So I leave that up to you. for yourself, what feels good for you. It is effective. It does work. It does potentially thin the skin. It does potentially make our skin less resilient to wounding, to the sun, to any other external stimuli. So I think keeping all of that in mind and deciding what the best option for your unique situation is. Vitamin C is the next ingredient that we'll get into. It is brightening and firming. It's another antioxidant that can be utilized for the skin. First on my list in the forms of vitamin C that you may see are L-ascorbic acid. This is the purest and most potent form of vitamin C. It is highly effective in its brightening on the skin. It can help to reduce hyperpigmentation. However, it can be highly unstable and prone to oxidation, meaning that it can both lose potency and become more problematic when exposed to air, light, or water. And so, if you have a product that has L-ascorbic acid in it, you really want to make sure that it has an airless pump, that it's in a dark bottle, and that you are using it before the expiration date. The next on my list is ascorbyl glucoside. This is a stable derivative of vitamin C that is also water soluble. It's less potent than L-ascorbic acid, but it's still effective, and it is less likely than L-ascorbic acid to cause irritation. And it's also more stable in skincare formulations. But my favorite form of vitamin C isolate in the skin is tetrahexyl decyl ascorbate. This is a lipid soluble derivative of vitamin C, and it's highly stable and penetrates the skin effectively because it is lipid or oil soluble. Of course, our skin has natural oils on it and in it, and having something that is lipid soluble can be more effectively absorbed. It's kind of like how water doesn't really absorb into our skin. Water soluble ingredients don't absorb as effectively. It's not to say that they don't, but they're not as effective as oil soluble. Snail mucin is often promoted as a hydrating hyaluronic acid alternative. It's a gel-ish like consistency, like a mucilaginous consistency. That can promote hydration in the skin, but it's certainly not something I would use personally. It's promoted as cruelty-free, but I would consider that to be a subjective stance. Some would argue that snails lack the neurological complexity to experience suffering, and others believe that any exploitation of animals for human gain, regardless of their capacity for suffering, is unethical. Snail mucin is obtained by exposing snails to mild stress, such as exposure to light or air, which will stimulate them to produce more mucin. And this process is typically done in controlled environments to ensure the safety and well-being of the snail. And then after the process is over, they are still, to me, it's like, why? I'm not a vegan. I was a vegetarian for a very long time. But I do have a deep respect for animals and their life. And I don't really see this particular practice, especially in the name of vanity, as respectful to a life form. I'm a very plant forward gal, and I think that we have many amazing alternatives like marshmallow and mushrooms, which I'll get into shortly, that can provide a more beneficial experience for the skin without the exploitation of another life form. On that note, we next have niacinamide, which is also known as vitamin B3. It's very commonly used in skincare. It's often synthetically derived. This is one of the synthetics that I do really enjoy for the skin and in a formulation. The benefits of topical niacinamide include improved texture, reduced inflammation, balanced oil production, enhanced barrier function. It can help with reducing the visible effects of hyperpigmentation. And it's just a really lovely ingredient for most, if not all, skin types. And then next is mushrooms. I love mushrooms in skincare. I think they're having a real moment right now. They're beneficial due to their rich content of antioxidants and natural moisturizing factor. They contain compounds like beta glucans, which help to hydrate and soothe the skin. And then they are also anti-inflammatory. They are known for their ability to support the skin's natural barrier function, and their adaptogenic properties make them useful for calming sensitive or irritated skin. We can see different mushrooms utilized in a formulation. Reishi mushroom, also known as the mushroom of immortality, contains high levels of those beta glucans, which are really beneficial for moisturizing the skin. We have shiitake mushroom, which is rich in kojic acid, which is very powerful for brightening and reducing the appearance of hyperpigmentation. Tremella mushroom is also known as snow mushroom, and this is rich in polysaccharides, which help lock in moisture and improve skin hydration. And then maitake also has similar benefits. It's going to attract and retain moisture in the skin. It also is really great for soothing inflammation. Chaga mushroom can sometimes be in a formulation, but I generally, if I see chaga either in a food, a supplement, a skincare formulation, I really look to see what their sustainability practices are, because there's been a lot of over harvesting of chaga with the rise in its popularity in the last couple of years. So chaga primarily grow on birch trees in cold climates like Russia or Siberia, and also parts of North America. And harvesting chaga often involves removing the fungus from the living birch tree, which can potentially kill or damage the host tree if done excessively or even just improperly. And then it can also deplete natural populations. It can disrupt forest ecosystems. It can threaten biodiversity. So there's a lot of concern around chaga that I don't think is getting enough attention. I think I hear on podcasts to drink like chaga coffee alternatives. And I think that we need to really make sure that we are purchasing from a company who honors responsible sourcing and management. And also, there's a lot of alternatives. There's a lot of other mushrooms that are really similar, and we can lean on them rather than depleting our natural ecosystem. So we'll finish up by talking about how to actually incorporate tonics and serums into your routine. In my cleanser episode, I discussed how you can only cleanse once a day, and that would be in the evening if that works best for your skin. If you're not sure if that's a good option for you or not, go back and listen to my cleanser episode, which is 2 episodes ago. But if this is what you're doing, you would cleanse in the evening, and then your skincare would start with your toner in the morning. You could just mist it over your face, or you could put it on a cotton round and swipe your face. And then if you're also using a serum, you would use that after the toner. And then you would follow up with your moisturizer. You could also utilize your toner with your oil. This could replace your moisturizer. So lots of different options there. And tips if you're layering multiple serums. I don't think that most people need multiple serums at a time. But if you are, my suggestions are to layer by consistency. You would start with the thinnest serum and work your way up to thicker serums. Always use a water-based serum before an oil-based serum, and allow time in between each serum so that they can absorb. Always pay attention to how your skin is reacting to multiple serums and adjust accordingly. And many serums can be used in the morning or in the evening. However, synthetic retinoids should only be used at night, and less stable versions of vitamin C, like that L-ascorbic acid, should, in my opinion, only be used at night so that it's not oxidizing in the sun. And when in doubt, just use your serum at nighttime and opt more for like your toner and oil or toner and moisturizer in the morning. So I hope that this has been helpful. We went over what a toner / a tonic actually is. We talked about hydrosols. We got into serums and what they are. We talked about different ingredients in serums. And then I finished up by giving you my tips on how to actually apply these products. I encourage you to experiment with different tonics and different serums to find out what works best for your unique skin. And I invite you to tune in to my next episode, which will cover oils for the skin. I'll talk about which oils are best for which skin types. And I'm really excited about that one. Oils are just so beautiful, and I think there's such a wonderful benefit for our skin. I am so grateful for you tuning in today. I encourage you to subscribe, to rate and review the show. And if you want to reach out to me with feedback or questions, I most often hang out on Instagram at Stratum Aesthetics. And thank you again, and I can't wait to see you next week.